Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to episode number 18 in our All of Fabric modded Minecraft series. I have realized something that I had forgotten. I was thinking that I needed to get a large amount of power before I could start getting some automated resources. And the electric quarry is definitely a thing. If you use the electric quarry, you get all kinds of ores. Crazy amounts of ores, depending on which bit you use. But there's also the steam quarry, which is the precursor to the electric quarry. And when you use that, you don't get as many ores. You still get different things based on which drill bits you use, but you get a lot of things. Some of those being redstone, gold, iron, coal, all the things that I'm running low on. I don't get Certus this way. I need to get to the electric quarry for that, but at least I can get some things started. So I am focusing on getting a steam quarry up and running. To do that, I am setting up a few more auto processing things. So I made a new bronze compressor and bronze masser or cutting machine. I also want to get a macerator in this line so that we can macerate things on demand. But so to do these two, I'm going to need to put in another cable here. I need more fluid pipes. I came down and put a terminal down here just so that I can grab stuff down here while I'm working. Pipes. Fluid pipes. There we go. We're going to need to extend this steam line down a couple more. Connect it here. Okay. I also set up just some little grid lines so I know this is where I'm planning to add more processing machines in the future. So I'll do another row here, and then I have space to do a fourth one over there. Just kind of future-proofing the layout. So let's put these pattern providers on. So we'll notice that the pattern providers themselves add channels to the system, even if there's nothing connected to them. Let's see. So we're going to add a compressor here. We're going to add the cutting machine. Now the cutting machine uses lubricant, which for now we'll have to manually grab. Eventually I'm going to set up a system to get that automated so that it's brought down here, but that is going to take some doing, figuring out how I'm going to do it, because to make lubricant I need to make creosote, and then I need to add redstone to it, and that's a more complicated process, but we will get there. Okay, so now these are set up with pattern providers so that we can add patterns to them. We also need a couple of interfaces on top so that we can extract the items out. And these will have to be the same way. We want to enable auto extraction. And again, we don't need to add a cable to the interfaces. The interfaces, when they touch each other, add themselves to the network. So now we're using 6 of 8 channels. We have enough space to do one more device on this smart cable. So we had made a couple more, I made a couple more patterns that use those machines. I want to put them in through up here just so I can make sure things are connected. I have the bronze compressor, bronze cutting machine. So this is a recipe that makes steel rods from steel ingots in a cutting machine. And this is a recipe that makes copper plates from copper ingots in a compressor. So now I can start adding those recipes in. I'm going to have to, like I said, I'm going to have to bring some lubricant down so I can use the cutting machine. Basically, what I have been doing is I went in here and I added the steam quarry as a recipe. So now when I go to craft the steam quarry, I can see I have the ability to craft all these things. I've added those recipes and I have these available. I'm missing lubricant. Oh, I can actually... I'm wondering if I can actually set it up with the fluid system to do it. But if I add lubricant to the cutting machine, that'll go away. But so the next recipe on here is we need to learn how to make a steel bolt. So then I just go in here and I find the steel bolt and I put the recipe in. So it knows that the recipe requires lubricant and a steel rod, and we can go like this. And then we can add that recipe to here. That's very interesting. So with the pattern provider, I can actually provide fluid. So if I put a fluid import on a machine that's making lubricant, I wouldn't need to have the system near the cutting machine. I could actually just import it in through the network. Very interesting. I'm going to have to look into that. But okay, so back to the quarry. Now that we've made that recipe, did I spell that wrong? Oh, it's steam quarry. I typed steel. Okay, so now this has the ability to craft it. So the next thing on the list, other than the lubricant, is our steel large plate. So we need to find out how to make steel large plates. So the steel large plate is made with the regular plates, so we'll just teach that the crafting recipe, and we will put that in here under our assemblers. And we're running low on space in the assembler, so we're going to have to add some more of those very soon. But we have all the ability to do that. We've already set it up to craft the things we need to do that, so that's not a problem. Okay, so now it's saying that we're missing a steel machine casing. So the system doesn't know how to make that. Let's teach it how to make it. Oh, I'm out of patterns. I made some here. Oh, these are just the copper rings and stuff. Let's put those in. Didn't have space to put those before, so now I needed to. So, okay, we don't have any more patterns. I need to craft some blank patterns before I can make this recipe. But so you can see how the process on how the auto crafting continues. The more things you teach the system how to make, the more, the less things you need to teach it how to make. Okay, so I don't have enough to make 10. Let's make 5 for now, until I get some more. Oop, I need more crystals. Can I just get 1? Nope, I need 1 for that. Okay, so I'm going to have to get some more Certus quartz, but you can see how the process goes. We slowly add more recipes into our system as we go, and every time we teach it something, the next time we go to craft, oops, I did not mean to scroll those out, we'll have that recipe. So when we go to make another steel machine, let's say we want to make the cutting machine, if we wanted to make a new one, oh, they're actually made with an upgrade. Regardless, when we want to make one of these items, we've already taught it how to make steel gears and steel plates. So the next time it'll be even easier. So the more we teach it, the easier it becomes down the road. At the outset, it's teaching it to make a lot of things because the system is pretty dumb. It doesn't know how to make anything. I set up another new device on our crafting network. I wanted to show you. This is the crystal growth chamber. So it's the same setup, pattern provider with an interface. So I can put in a pattern to send items into the crystal growth chamber and get out items that I need. So specifically what I need it for right now is that I have a lot of Certus quartz dust, but I do not have a lot of Certus quartz crystals. So I need to teach the system 2 recipes. I need to teach the recipe for Certus quartz seeds and the recipe for crystals. But before I can do that, I need to get some Certus quartz crystals because I don't have any and I am out of patterns. So I'm just going to grab some seeds and I'll throw them in the chamber down here manually. And then after that, I will teach the system to make crystals and I'll never have to do it again. That's working. When that's done, I'll be able to make more patterns and make some more recipes and continue on with our progress. I did think of one thing I wanted to show you. I did this a couple episodes ago and I forgot to show it, but I was having an issue with my danks. What I do when I don't have them full is I put an item in as a placeholder, and I had been using sticks that I had named placeholder as the placeholder. Problem with that is that whenever I crafted torches, the system used those named sticks and made torches. So I made placeholders out of buttons. It's possible that I may craft something using buttons. I'll just have to be mindful of it, but it's much less likely. So now that's what I'm using as my placeholders in these, so that the reason we do that is so that when we are using our system and putting items in, since those are on a higher priority, if those spaces are empty, the system tries to put whatever item it has in those slots, and so we end up with all those slots being filled with junk. And for now, I don't want anything going into those slots. So the Certus quartz are done, and now I can make more patterns. See if I can make 5 of them. We'll make more once we have the ability to make more, but 6 is what we were able to make. Okay. That's right, because they make them in doubles. Okay, so we want to do Certus quartz seeds as a recipe. And that goes into an assembler. And then we want to do Certus quartz crystals. And that is, I think we can use this recipe. Yeah, 1 Certus quartz seed becomes 1 crystal. We'll be able to use that as a processing recipe. We put that into our crystal growth chamber. I have another one I need to add. Okay. So now we have the ability to make those seeds. So if I do this, if I did this correctly, bring up the blank patterns. Now we should be able to make we're missing sand. We need 3 more. Okay, let's do this as 30. Now I can do it because it's able to make the Certus quartz crystals that I need. So we can just let it do its thing and it'll get us the patterns. So I'm thinking I might set up a system to just generate some of the basic blocks that we need. So in the past what I've done is I do a cobbleworks. So cobblestone we can make with a cobblestone generator. And then from cobblestone, I think we can make gravel through a macerator. And then from the gravel, we'd be able to make sand also through a macerator. And then we'd be able to make like glass. And so I can make a system that automatically stocks our system with sand and gravel and cobblestone and glass so that we don't need to be crafting it all the time. I may do that off camera because it's not a very interesting system to build. But basically all we do is make a cobblestone generator and have that feed into a macerator, which then feeds into another macerator, which then feeds into another furnace. I wonder what else I can make. Now, I might be able to make clay. Can I make clay out of... Nah, it doesn't look like it. In some of the packs I've played before, you can use sand to craft clay and things like that. But we can go through and figure out all the different blocks that we can automatically stock using nothing other than a little bit of steam. We're definitely going to have to bulk up our steam production too. We're starting to make more and more things that use steam. Right now it hasn't been an issue. We have plenty of steam, but... Alright, so now that we have patterns... we can put them in here. We can continue on with our process of making the steam quarry. So let's see where I was last at. Crafting this. Okay, so we need the steel machine casing. That was the next item I was teaching the system, but I didn't have the patterns to do it. And so again, this is just the process that we're going to continue to use. We teach it how to make a new item, and then we check to see what else it still needs until eventually we are able to craft the quarry. And we'll have to continue adding assemblers as we need to provide more space for the assemblers. But we're very slowly getting to the point where we have everything we need. So steel ingots to make steel plates, item pipes, and Indvar gears. Indvar gears are going to be an interesting one, I think. I don't know how to make Indvar yet. At least the system doesn't. So an Indvar gear is made like this, which means we're going to have to teach it a whole new chain for Indvar. So we're going to go through it. I'll just keep making these recipes. And then once I have the ability to make the steam quarry, I will show you all the things we had to make. Taught our system how to make so many things. We have a lot of compressor, cutting machine recipes, furnace recipes. We taught it how to make charged Certus quartz using the charger. We've added a ton of space to our assemblers and filled up a good deal of it. But I believe we have everything we need to make a quarry. Oh, I also added fluid storage to our system. So fluid storage works that you make a drive, this little red drive here in the bottom, is just like the other drives except it only stores fluids. So right now I'm pulling in lubricant into our system. So we have lubricant that we can put into the cutting machine through our pattern provider. So we're going to start this recipe, and it's going to take a while, but it's going to cook all the things up. I want to go check on our cutting machine to see how it's working. So you can see in here we have all kinds of things being crafted. Maybe they finished already. But our cutting machine is doing its thing. It added in the fluid we needed. I already had lubricant in there, and it just couldn't tell that. So it was saying it needs more lubricant. We added it in. It's all good. That icon looks funny. It's like a Game Boy. Anyway, we have a lot of things for it to craft, but it's going through all the steps. Some of the things are a little bit of a cheat. I have not taught the system how to make steel yet. I haven't taught it how to make Indvar yet. I just made a stack of each and put it in. It was enough to get us through this craft. Once we get some resources coming in, I will continue connecting those up and get it set up so that it has them as recipes. Crafting is nearly complete. It's finishing up a few parts. We have to just keep on crafting the things. It's interesting to watch. It has an estimate on how long it's going to take for it to finish, but it keeps adjusting itself because it doesn't know how long the modern industrialization machines are going to take. These machines we can upgrade to steel versions of themselves, which will work faster, and we can upgrade them faster, which will make all these processes go much quicker as well. But I just wanted to get the basics set up. Once we have this done, which is going to take another minute or so, we will be able to set up the steam quarry to quarry for ores. We'll have to make the drill bits for it to do that, the drill heads. And the way it works is that each quarry, depending on what type of drill head you put into it, provides you with different resources. And so we may end up having to set up multiple quarries. And I think what we're probably going to do is set up our system so that the quarries are separate. Like they have their own steam supply. So I can set up a quarry that mines for coal, and then we can export coal into a boiler and have it create its own supply of steam from the coal that it mines itself. That way we can have it kind of self-powering. We will have to set it up so that we can continue to craft the drill heads. But one thing we can do is export those out to the quarries from our applied energistics system. And if we have taught the system how to make the drill heads, we will be able to put in a crafting card and craft them on demand, which means that as long as we can continue keeping the resources for the drills, we can keep them going. So let's just quick look at the drill bits. The brass drill just uses different pipes, which are not hard to make, cogwheels, and a brass drill head, which is just made from parts that we mostly already have taught the system how to make already. So it would not be difficult to do that. Another 30 seconds left. But so let's look at the brass sheets. And they're just you just use brass ingots in a compressor. We can teach it how to do that, absolutely. And the brass is made by combining copper dust with zinc. So once we have a macerator set up in our automated processing chain, we'll be able to do those no problem as well. So we can definitely set it up so that the quarry is self-sustaining. It provides its own steam. It can probably craft all the parts it needs to continue to make drill heads, because all these parts probably can come from the quarry itself, and then we can just make it so we have infinite ores forever. It'll take a long time for them to build up, but it will be no effort from us to continue to get ores. So that's a big project to do, and it'll be probably the next thing we work on, but it's going to take a bit of time. So looks like we're just finishing up the last step here. Hopefully it's not stuck on the last thing. Let's take a look over here. Should be making a steel plate, so that should be in the compressor. And that's done. Oh, it finished. I just wasn't patient enough. So if we go in and look for our quarry, there it is. One steam quarry crafted by machine. Let's take a look at our quest line and see how that falls. We did the charger. We did the charge Certus quartz. We're slowly getting everything here set up through all these. We'll probably take some time to finish out the rest of this quest line. A lot of this is stuff we've already done. I just didn't do it in order, so it did not record it. So we'll just have to craft things to finish the quest line. But let's look at modern industrialization. So, oh yeah, and this is the same thing here. It didn't count the clay bricks I made, so it didn't move on. So I have a lot of things here that I have done that I haven't counted. So we'll have to go through and fix that by crafting some more things. So yeah, it looks like this section is all about doing the quarry with the steam quarry. Okay, so we'll have to craft all the other parts for it and get it set up. It'll be very interesting, but that, like I said, that'll probably be what we work on in the next episode. We now have the ability to continue adding on to our crafting system. You can see I added on an extra row of molecular assemblers, and I have quite a few machines over here for processing. So things are going very well, and I'm very excited about that. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this episode. It's probably going to be the end for it today. Next episode, we'll work on figuring out what we need to do to set up that steam quarry multi-block, and we'll start getting some resources in without mining. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.